Hello, everyone, and welcome to Getting Started with Power BI Visualizations. I'm Kristen Jackson, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. Today, we'll walk through the basics of creating impactful, interactive visuals using Power BI, perfect for turning your data into clear and compelling stories. As for webinar housekeeping, we will email a link to the webinar recording. Audio for this webinar is broadcast through your computer speakers. If you have any questions as we go, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section. We'll be checking in throughout the session to make sure your questions are answered along the way. You can find the slides and any additional references for this presentation in the doc section. Refresh your browser to clear up any or most audio or technical issues, and use the cogwheel to adjust your settings. I'll now introduce each of our speakers. Lucy Ruiz is the owner and founder of Sentinel Consulting, a consulting firm that focuses on fundraising operations using the perspective of ongoing staff training and scalable and efficient processes and technology to elevate an organization's mission. Lucy has worked in the nonprofit space for over 30 years, initially as a fundraiser within an independent school. This was followed by a decade of working for Blackbaud as a razor's edge consultant, working all over North America. It was during this time that Lucy became convinced that operational excellence is foundational to an organization's success. Like any successful team, operational excellence does not occur overnight. However, it does occur when an organization strives to do more each and every day, or what we like to call move the ball forward. The team at Sentinel continually seeks ways to enhance our clients' operations, enabling them to continue positively impacting their communities. When she's not working, Lucy can be found trail running. Amir Sohani is a data analyst at Sentinel Consulting with over 15 years of experience in transforming complex data sets into actionable insights. He leverages advanced techniques of data analysis and Python programming to design, build, and implement scalable solutions for our clients. As an expert developer, Amir has implemented end-to-end data pipelines, automated ETL processes for data migrations, and created robust Power BI models for nonprofit organizations. Amir's expertise has helped fundraisers make data-driven decisions and create many advanced data models such as RFM, cluster analyses, and donor segmentation. Prior to joining Sentinel Consulting, he built data warehouses and developed business intelligence reports for Samsung, where he established best practices for reporting, data governance, and Python-driven analytics. At bbdevdays 2025, Amir is eager to help nonprofit staff take on Power BI and Power Automate. Amir loves to share practical support for building efficient workflows and data visualizations that support fundraising teams. I'll now pass it over to Lucy and Amir.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kristen. I really appreciate those intros. They sounded a lot shorter when we were told to write them out. I always kind of cringe when you're talking about me. So, all right. So thank you very much, everyone. We're going to just keep the ball moving along, and we're going to talk about intros. So now you've heard about us, and we'd love to hear more about who you are and what you're doing. And only for this section will you be allowed to put stuff in the chat. Otherwise, as Kristen has mentioned earlier, please put all questions in the Q&A so that we can moderate them accordingly. Then we're going to talk about the demo and get you all started. I know Power BI sounds really, really scary. And I'll be honest, the first time I saw it, and you start with DAX measures and calculations, and I was like, my head was spinning. But Amir has a great way of making it easy. And we're going to start we're going to start nice and easy so you can dip that toe in. So just a couple of questions. So what is on your summer to-do list, whether it's a fun thing to do or work related? What is on your to-do list? What type of organizations do we have here today? And is your organization using Power BI or Power Automate? So feel free to drop that in the chat. And I really got to stop looking at these memes of the kids dancing, the basketball kids dancing, because that's all I can see and it's making me giggle. Someone is going to a Weird Al concert. That is really good, and I'd be so up for that. Stephanie, maybe there's an extra ticket for me. So please feel free to drop that in the chat. We've gone through an intro. We're going to skip the intro about Sentinel, but we're big believers in operations, and that's why I think most of the folks in here are operational folks. That's why you're all our people. We are going to go and we are going to start the Power BI demonstration. I'm not sure how many of you kind of put up your hand if you feel like you're going to follow along or if you're going to just watch and learn. Please, we're big believers that there's no such thing as a dumb question. So I really, really want to hear your questions. I promise you, Amir has heard them all from everybody on our team. And we're always, no matter what question, and we think we're going to stump them, Amir's usual answer is, yeah, sure, we could do that. So I joke that I wish that my husband would do that as often as Amir does. So I'm going to turn it over to Amir and we can start leveling up together. So, and I love these answers.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucy. Let me share the screen for the slides. All right. Yep. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining this session. Thanks, Kristen, for the intro. My name is Amir. I'm data analyst at Sentinel Consulting. I've spent more than 15 years working with data, and today I'm very excited to be part of bbdevdays. We will walk through developing a fundraising Power BI dashboard step by step. So I know that some of you definitely have started working with Power BI. And if you haven't even touched Power BI before, I will provide you with some tips and tricks to just get us started very quickly. All right. So let's start by looking at where we are heading to. What you see here is a complete Power BI fundraising dashboard, and this is exactly what we are going to create together today. This dashboard brings together key fundraising metrics. We've got year-to-date revenue broken down by fiscal year, number of donors over time, giving by fund category, lifetime giving per constituent, and even a breakdown or a trend line of donations by month. So this dashboard helps you answer questions like, how are we performing compared to last fiscal year? Which fund categories are growing? Who are our top supporters? And when is our most active giving period? So we will walk through how to bring this dashboard to life and starting with loading the data, shaping it in Power Query, and building the visualizations. Okay, but before we dive into Power BI, I want to take a moment to talk about something important, how we connect Power BI to Razor's Edge NXT. Actually, there's no one-size-fits-all method. Instead, there are three common approaches, each with its strength and limitation. So the method you choose depends on your goals, your technical resources, and how often your data needs to refresh. The first option is using the Blackbaud custom connector directly in Power BI Desktop. This connector is easy to set up and gives you a real-time access to data while you're working in Power BI Desktop. So it's great for quick exploration, ad hoc reporting, and development work. It is out of the scope of this session to just implement the custom connector, but there are resources. You can find them on Google. We have also had a webinar and a recording on YouTube that helps you to walk through the steps to implement the custom connector. There are some pros. You get to see live data as you design your dashboard inside Power BI Desktop. It also simplifies API access, so you don't need to write any custom queries, or you don't need to worry about how to handle authentication or API pagination. and it saves time on manual exports. But the biggest downside is that it doesn't support a scheduled refresh, and all API endpoints are not available. So it may be limiting for complex reports. If you want to incorporate font attributes, for example, you cannot use the custom connector. There is a workaround. You can set up a Power BI gateway that you can just schedule refresh in Power BI service that runs on a virtual machine. And this gateway can allow a scheduled refresh from your local Power BI desktop environment into the cloud. But this virtual machine needs to be on and connected always the time, and you need to maintain it. So it might be possible, but it adds a layer of infrastructure overhead of your end-to-end workflow. But the second option is using Power Automate. You use Power Automate to pull data out of Razor's Edge, save it as a CSV file on SharePoint, and then load it into Power BI. It supports a scheduled refresh in Power BI service. You have full access to all available endpoints, and also it offers control and flexibility. But it doesn't provide real-time data refresh because you are scheduling Power Automate workflow on a daily basis, for example. So you are working with a snapshot of data, not a live data. And it can be a bit fragile. Power Automate is sensitive to file naming, folder path, and large data sets. And the second approach is the data warehouse. The third option is to build a data warehouse that sits between Razor's Edge and Power BI. This is the most scalable and powerful approach, especially for large teams that have millions of records. You can transform and clean data before it hits the Power BI, making your reports faster and more reliable. It handles large data sets smoothly, and also it provides a long-term solution for enterprise level reporting. However, this approach requires infrastructure, licensing, and technical expertise. So it might be some time consuming and it takes more time to implement. So let's wrap it up. The best approach depends on your need. Use the custom connector if you want quick access during development. Use Power Automate if you want scheduled updates with flexibility. And use a data warehouse if you need a robust, scalable solution that can grow within your organization. Okay, any questions?
Do you have a question, actually? Someone asked, will you share the demo PBIX file?
Yep. Very, very soon. This is the last presentation slide, and we will then jump into the Power BI desktop.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And before we move into the hands-on session, I want to give you a quick overview of how Power BI ecosystem works as a whole. There are three main components. Each plays a different role in your reporting workflow. We have Power BI Desktop, which is for development. This is where we do all the heavy lifting, connecting to data, transforming, building visualizations, writing DAX formulas, anything. The second component is Power BI Service to publish, refresh, and share your dashboard with anybody within your workspace. You can manage your workspace, organize the content, and manage the permission, share it with your colleagues. And the third component is Power BI Mobile. The Power BI Mobile lets you view and interact with reports on your phone. So you can design mobile-friendly layouts in Power BI Desktop to make sure your reports are accessible and readable on a small screens. Okay.
Amir, if I may,
Yep.
just a quick,
Yep.
for those of you who are really, really new to Power BI, Power BI Desktop is the free version that comes often with your 365 environment, right? See how much I've learned. And that's where you can actually create your report. But Power BI Service, which is that's the paid version that you usually, I think it's under $20 for that. That is where you can publish it, meaning you can now make it visible and place it into an RE tile with a tile within RE, or you can share it with other users. So I just wanted to clarify that point because I know that some of these terms might be new for some folks.
Yeah, Power BI Desktop is a free tool installed on your computer, actually your Windows machine, that you can create any dashboard. But if you want to share it with anybody, you need to publish it on Power BI service, and you need to have at least a pro license, which is $15 or $20 per month. So exactly as what you said, Lucy. All right, let's jump into the Power BI Desktop. Let me share my screen. All right. So this is the Power BI Desktop. All the heavy lifting is going to be handled right here. What is the first step? When you open a blank report, the first step is to get your information or connect your data source. So if you want to connect your data source, you can just click on this Get Data. And if today we are going to use the custom connector. So if you implement your custom connector, then you can click on this Get Data and More and search for Blackbaud. And you can see this custom connector right here.
Sorry, Amir, just to interrupt you just a second.
Yeah.
I don't think it was visible on the screen that there's a drop down that you went to in order to search up the Blackbaud connector. So I know I've seen it 100 times, but when you click more, there's an actual dialog box that opens up. So I don't know if that.
Exactly. Can you see my screen?
We can see that part, but you know how that second dialog box comes in and you have to type in Blackbaud?
Yes. When you click on More.
Yeah.
Yes. Click on More. And now you can see this page right here. When you type Blackbaud.
That page we cannot see. So I don't know if you can take a screenshot or something, but just to let people know, you don't see the dialog box. And I think it's just a Goldcast thing. It's just the way it shows up.
Okay, let me share my entire screen. Okay. Here we go. Now you can see this pop-up page,
there
right?
You go. Perfect.
Okay, so click on Get Data, More, and this a new page pops up, and just search for Blackbaud, and you can see your custom connector right here. When you hit the button and connect to the custom connector, you can see the tables and everything you have in your Razor Zillion XD, not every endpoint, but the things that are available, like constituent, campaign, fund, and appeals. So you can select any of them. Just a second. Sorry.
While Amir's doing that, and I'm just going to explain a couple things, and I'll just interject every now and again, because for my operation peeps who are not, where Power BI and Power Automate are super new to them, a lot of those endpoints are just a fancy word for fields, and the endpoints are just like the nodes like we see in export or in query. So I know it helped me to see some of this stuff and relate it to something we know. So if you are seeing something and you don't understand it, please, please, please stick those questions in the Q&A, but I will try to, as much as possible, to make it DBA friendly, shall we say.
Okay. Thanks, Lucy. So from here, you can select the tables you want, and then you load them, because it takes a lot of time it takes a few minutes to load all information on all tables into your data model. So I'm not going to load them at the moment. I have already loaded them into my Power BI data model, but you can very easily just click on these tables. For example, on fundraising, you can select appeal, campaign, fund, and then load them into your data model very quickly, very easily. But I have constituent, fund, gift, and gift split right here. What is the next step? When you connect your data source and load them into your data model, the next step is to shape your data model. And inside Power BI, we do this part using the Power Query editor. We have this option, transform data, right here. If you click on transform, you can see the Power Query editor right here. You can see your queries on the left-hand side, and you can see your transformations on the right hand. So if you click on any of these queries, you can apply your transformations. We are going to apply 3 transformations, just sample ones, to just give you an idea how it works. For example, you have your font table right here. There are a lot of columns that you don't need. So you can just get rid of them because you are not using them. As smaller data models, uh, sorry.
I can see your screen, Amir.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see a lot of columns right here, but you can just delete some of them because a smaller data model means faster refresh and maintainable data model and semantic model. So one of the transformation steps you can apply is deleting the columns you don't need. So you can hold down Control key and select the columns that you need and remove the other ones. For example, we need font ID, font description, category, type, and maybe goal. But we don't need other columns like start date, end date. You can hold down Control, select the columns you want, and remove other columns. This is a transformation. This is how you shape your data. So we have just kept a few columns, which is cleaner and better. What is the next transformation? For example, let's say you want to add a new column and you want to categorize your fonts based on your report requirements. So you can add a new column like a conditional column and name it whatever. For example, font label. So from add column menu, select conditional column and name it whatever you want. And let's define how it works. So we're going to say if my description column contains, for example, membership, categorize it as membership and add a new clause. Else if description contains, for example, whatever, I don't know, annual, categorize or label it as annual. And else you can enter a value or select a column. So we can select, for example, font category. When you click on this OK column, you have your new column right here, which is font label. Now we can use this column inside our visualization or inside our dashboard. But what is the other step? One of the most important steps inside your Power Query is adding a date table. Actually, it is best practice to have a date table because there are a couple of DAX formulas in Power BI that they are time series formulas and only work when you have a date table. If you don't have a date table, you cannot use those DAX formulas that are very strong and very easy to understand. So we are going to add a new table or a new query right here. Click on Home, New Source, and add a blank query. And from here, you can add a Power Query or an M code. Don't worry about it. We will provide you with this code. Name this query, rename it to date. And then right click on this query and select Advanced Editor.
Amir, while you're doing that, I think that there might be some questions. So Kristen will punt it over to you.
Yep, sure.
So a few questions came through. So the free license that comes with 365 environment cannot just publish or share the report without a pro license.
No, no. If you want to publish and share your reports and dashboards, you need to at least have a pro license. Right now, Power BI service comes with two licenses, Pro and Premium. Set Microsoft Fabric capacity aside, but there are two licenses, Pro and Premium. So you need to have at least Pro license to be able to share your dashboard.
Okay, great.
But using Power BI Desktop, it's free and you can develop any report you want.
Great. If we're working on a Mac, we cannot access Power BI Desktop, right? Is there a workaround? And I think people have mentioned in the chat about a application called Parables.
I have no idea. I have never worked with that application, but Microsoft Power BI Desktop is only available on Windows machines.
Okay.
I think
great.
it's Parallels. I think it's Parallels. But yes, you can.
Okay.
We have some clients who use Parallels, but it requires a lot of network configuration to make it work. We're currently working through a couple things with clients. Like there's always some very nitpicky things that make it difficult. But yeah, and just a couple of items. For those of you who are wondering, transformations is just a way of making your data a little cleaner. Just like when you're exporting, think back to query and export. It's just a way of, you don't pick out any columns you don't need. And then DAX formulas are essentially formulas like you would use in Excel. And there are 3 common formulas that are listed in the docs section of the presentation. So it'll say the DAX formulas. So you don't have to know what they are. You'll just be able, Amir will show you how you'll copy and paste them, and you can take it straight from the doc and copy and paste it. So in case anybody is wondering. And does Premium get you more than Pro? It does,
yes.
But I'll let Amir talk about that.
Yeah, Premium definitely comes with more capabilities and functionalities. One of them is you can create premium workspaces that you cannot with a Pro license. And those premium workspaces let you, they gave you some functionalities. Let's say, for example, let me give you one example. For example, you have a Power Automate workflow that you're going to export a paginated report automatically. So this function doesn't work with a Pro license. Your report should be published under a premium workspace. So from there, you have this functionality to use the Power BI certified APIs, like exporting a paginated report into PDF. So there are a lot of functionalities. This is one of them that comes with the premium license. But if you are going to just develop and share some simple dashboards and share it with anybody inside your organization, a Pro license is enough.
Then we have 2 other questions. If we don't see the Blackbaud custom connector, what do we need to do?
As I said, you have 3 approaches. You can use the custom connector. If you don't have access to the custom connector, you can have a Power Automate flow, implement and develop a Power Automate flow to get information out of RE using Blackbaud certified connectors, save them on SharePoint, and then connect Power BI to those CSV files on your SharePoint. This is the second approach.
And I think you might have just answered the second question. Can the custom connector be installed or saved to a SharePoint folder?
A custom connector is installed on your Power BI desktop. It's not installed on SharePoint. So wherever you have your Power BI desktop, the custom connector installs on that overhead of your Power BI desktop. So it doesn't have anything with SharePoint. You need to install it and implement it on your Power BI desktop.
Okay. All right.
Which is your computer. Yeah.
Got it.
Right.
Okay. I believe that's everything for now.
15 minutes to go. I think we're going to just get back to it and
Okay.
just make sure we get as much as required, but please ask those questions. If we can't get to all of the questions in this session, we will do our best to send out responses. I know people are putting stuff out on the community, so I'll do my best to answer on the community, especially for my DBAs out there who need a little translation. Happy to help out.
Yeah. Thanks, Lucy. So now we are going to develop a date table. We are going to write a Power Query formula. We call it M code. Don't worry about it. It might be complicated, but we provide this code with you, so you can have it and copy and paste this formula inside your Power BI desktop. So this is M code inside Power Query editor that creates a date table for you. When you click on OK, you have a table including dates, year, month, and a lot of columns. You can add any column to your date table. Now we have a date table right here. Let's wrap it up. We applied 3 steps of transformation in Power Query. So Power Query is for shaping your data model. Okay, we applied removing unnecessary columns. We added a new column in our font table to categorize our fonts. And also we created a date table, which is very, very essential for time series calculations. Now it's time to close and apply. So we are closing the Power Query editor. It takes a few minutes or a few seconds to just load these transformations and apply them into your data model. And it sits right here. Now you have your date table, constituent, font, gift, and gift splits. What is the next step after transformation? The next step is defining the relationships. So you need to go to model view, take a look at your tables, and these connections are your relationships. So as you can see, gift table is connected to constituent, and the type of connection is one-to-many from constituent to gift, which is exactly what we are looking for, because one constituent can have a lot of gifts. And gift is connected to gift splits. Again, one-to-many, one gift can have many gift splits, and font is connected to gift splits. What about date? Date also needs to be connected to the gift table. But before we just connect it, we need to go to table view, select our date table, and ensure that the type of this date column is date. So we change the type from column tools right here, and again, go back to model view and just drag this date and drop it on your gift date. Again, it is a one-to-many relationship. One date can have a lot of gifts, and select both direction. Now you have your connection between date and gift tables. So this is the second step. We are just reviewing the whole end-to-end workflow. So in any Power BI project, you need to just follow these steps to ensure that you have a maintainable, reliable, and efficient semantic model inside your Power BI. Okay, relationships are fine. Now, what should we do? We need to create our visualizations. So we're going to have a bar chart or a column chart right here, which has fiscal year as x-axis, and we are going to have year to date. So year to date is not something we can have access directly into our tables. So we need to write a DAX measure to calculate year to date. So go to your gift table, select your measure. We can call this measure like whatever. For example, raised year to date, okay? Since we have developed date table, we can use DAX measures that are specific for working with time series. If you don't have a date table, you cannot use this DAX measure, but now we have it, and the name of this function is total year to date. So we are going to calculate, or we are going to have a sum of gift amount or gift split amount, because fund is also included as well. So gift split amount. And now we have to define the date function, how it works. We are going to use date year to date, dates year to date. Yeah. So just return a set of dates that is available in date table, and year end date based on our fiscal year is the end of June. Okay. Now we have year to date is already used. Oh, this is used. Okay. We can add raised year to date dollar. Okay. Now we have our measure in place. Just drag it and drop it as y-axis into your visualization. Now you're seeing the fiscal years and year-to-date amounts. You can just filter your fiscal year and exclude the other fiscal years. Just keep 3 fiscal years, and you can also sort your axis on fiscal year from Z to A. So 2022, 23, 24, and 25. What else? We can have also another visualization to have number of donors year to date. Again, we use the same structure, but we are developing a new measure. Paste this one, rename it. For example, count of donors, count donor year to date. This time we are not returning the sum of gift amount. We want to have a distinct count of constituent ID, right? Did you notice that right now I'm referring to another table, but because we have already defined the relationships, this formula works with all tables. They are related. It calculates count of constituents ID in each fiscal year. So date table is connected to constituent table using the gift table. So they work perfectly. So this one is distinct count of constituent IDs. Again, you can remove this year to date, and we have count of donors year to date. Just drag it and drop it on y-axis. Now we have count of donors in each fiscal year. What is the next step? We want to have a pie chart right here to see year-to-date amount by fund category. Again, drag this one, raised year-to-date, put it on as value. And do you remember we added a new column? The name of the column was font label. Just use it here, drag it and drop it on legend. Now you have a breakdown of fund amount, of raised amounts by fund category. Any questions?
We do have a few questions. Bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
All right. If we want to develop a Power BI dashboard for a client, I'm assuming I would want to use their Microsoft environment so they own the dashboard, or can you transfer dashboards?
If you're developing a dashboard for a client, the workflow is like this. You develop the semantic model, like the measures, transformations, everything inside your Power BI desktop. So you have a PBIX file. Now you give this PBIX file to your client, and from there, they can just publish this PBIX file into Power BI service and configure authentication with SharePoint if you are using Power Automate to connect CSV files to Power BI, or if you are using the custom connector, they have to implement the custom connector in their environment. So anyone who is going to use the PBIX file should have the custom connector. And when you send over the PBIX file, they can just open it and refresh it.
Okay, great. If we publish to website and to mobile, would this be 2 licenses or just 1 license? If our 5 executives need access, will all of them need user licenses? Should we purchase a premium license, or will Pro be okay?
Okay, so if you're sharing your organization, your dashboard within your organization, 1 license is enough. Because if you have 1 Pro license, the person who is in charge of developing the report should have this Pro license. And when you develop it and share it on Power BI service, the other people inside your organization can just view your dashboard. But if you are going to share this dashboard with some people outside your organization, those people who are going to view and consume the dashboard should have a license as well. So this is the difference.
What date is it putting in the model? Is it the date of the gift or today's date?
It depends on you. You can just define the start and end date. For the start date, I used 1st of July 2020, but you can figure a way to just grab the latest or the earliest date from your gift table. So it depends on you. You can decide.
But ultimately, I think you did use the gift date. Generally speaking, what you use the gift date, unless there's a reason you need date added. So for example, if you wanted to do a count of gifts in each month, if I added a gift in today that should be count, but was really dated for May, but I added it today on June 4th, you would want to see the count in the June column, even if you added it to the May column. So I think it depends, but generally speaking, most reports tend to be on gift date. I would imagine GL post date is also a commonly used one. When we prepare reports for financial organizations, for the finance team, we'll often use GL post date. But yeah, that's generally it.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks, Lucy. Okay, so we are going to have another table at the bottom of our dashboard, including the constituent's name and their year-to-date giving and lifetime giving. So we add a matrix or a table right here. We just select the columns we require, like name, constituent ID, diseased, or maybe the other information like inactive. And again, you grab that year-to-date measure and drop it on your table. Sorry. Yeah, right here. And also you want to, this is year-to-date giving. You can also have lifetime giving if you just grab this amount and put it right here. You want to rename your columns. You can do it very easily. Just click on this arrow, select rename for this visual. And this is, for example, dollar lifetime giving. For the other one, it is whatever. Year-to-date, gave year-to-date.
All right, we're down to our last 30 seconds. Yeah. So I want to be mindful that people need to jump off and get to new sessions. If we could just go to the last page, Amir, on the slide. I don't know. I can't share for some reason.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lucy.
Yeah. And then please feel free to reach out to us. If you have any questions, happy to walk people through. I know this feels like a steep learning curve, but I promise once you get in there, start playing with the filters, the automatic filters. Those are really, really helpful because that feels more like a pivot table. And we're happy to help out if you need anything.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Woo.
All right. Yeah. 45 minutes is not enough. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Krista. Yeah. Thank you.